Welcome once again to Musings by Danon. Today we're going to continue talking about different isekai. As I stated in a previous video, there are many ways to classify different isekai. Some are geared toward adults, others meant to appeal to teenagers. Some are about a whole group of people ending up in another world, others about a single person. Some isekai, the main character is given a quest, while others are more of a journey of self-discovery. And some are a good old-fashioned revenge tale. Which brings me to the subject of today's video. Failure Frame, I Became the Strongest and Annihilated Everything with Low-Level Spells, is a new light novel series by Shinozaki Karu. In the opening scene, Momori Toka and his classmates have been summoned to a new world. The goddess standing before the startled teenagers explains that they've been brought to this world to serve as heroes. Unfortunately, the only way she can send them back home is if they defeat the Demon Lord for her. But you all have received a blessing. The more outspoken members of the class refuse to believe that this is real and think the goddess is lying to them. Fortunately, she's done this before. Probably many times. The students are treated to a show as an old man is brought before them and then fed to a giant monster. All doubt as to whether this was real or fake fades as fear and shock overtake the kids. Their teacher, also caught up in the summoning, tries to calm them down, but the kids are too far gone. Fortunately, the goddess is able to calm them down, reminding them how they are all blessed heroes. She takes them to a crystal and has them put their hands on it, one at a time, to determine their power and their blessings. When it came time for Toka's turn, the crystal barely glowed. Come to find out, he's E-class. Let me interrupt the story summary with an explanation. In many Asian cultures, grades of power or difficulty are usually based on the lettering grades from school. E, D, C, B, A, with E being the lowest and weakest, and A being the strongest or most deadly. There also exists a special grade for beings beyond the power of mortals, S-class. The more Japanese or Korean fantasy stories you read, the more times you'll come across these grades. Sometimes you'll see an SSS class or super special class, while in solo leveling, instead of SSS class, you get national rank instead. So Toka, our main character, the invisible one in class, the one who has been silently complaining to himself about how life is unfair and how he doesn't have a place in his class's hierarchy, is now the only E-rank. The goddess assures him that even E-ranks have a role to play. A faint glimmer of hope appears in Toka's chest. He looks at his abilities and sees that he has sleep, poison, and paralysis. He also has a unique skill, Apply Status Effect. Unfortunately, Toka soon finds out that his role is that of sacrifice. The goddess gathers everyone into a large room with a teleportation circle. She explains that Toka was unlucky enough to be given E-rank. And as she was so experienced, she knew that the only purpose an E-rank has is to bring down the rest of the party. So to ensure the rest of the heroes all work as hard as possible, she's going to remove this stain from their otherwise stellar record. In fact, they have 2 S-class and several A-class heroes, so they should be able to defeat the Demon Lord in no time. Toka is in shock. The rest of the class instantly sides with the goddess. He's useless anyway, we don't need him. Except for Sogu, the class rep in one of the S ranks. She stands up to the goddess, going so far as to attack her on her classmates' behalf. Unfortunately, despite being an S rank, she's only level 1, and the goddess knocks her out. Enraged, Toka attempts to cast paralysis on the goddess. She laughs at him, and tells him that even if she wasn't immune to all status effects, those debuff type abilities rarely work anyway. He's as good as dead. As the teleport sending Toka to his doom finishes casting, he flips off the goddess in one final act of defiance. Toka finds himself in a dungeon from which no one has ever escaped. In the darkness, alone, surrounded by monsters who want to kill him, the darkness from his childhood overtakes him. When he was young, his parents were abusive and psychotic. One day, his parents simply left him, and he wound up living with his aunt and uncle. They were good people, and through many years spent living with them, Toka also became a good person. His only regret as a monstrous minotaur comes up to kill him is that he never thanked his aunt and uncle for being such good, understanding family members. Desperate to try anything, Toka raises his hand and says, "Paralyze." Eyes shut against his oncoming death, Toka waits. But nothing happens. Slowly opening his eyes, he sees the monster before him standing stock still. Paralyze worked. Not knowing how long it'll last for, he runs away, only to encounter another monster. He uses the last of his mana to cast Paralyze again, and shockingly, it works again. This time he decides to also try poison, and the pain of casting a spell when out of mana almost knocks him out. Toka watches in horror as the paralysis slowly wears off, but the monster is still alive. Clinging to hope, he casts Sleep and falls to his knees in pain. A few minutes later, the pain is gone, and he suddenly shoots up in levels. However, other monsters are coming. He's being surrounded by them. Can he paralyze them fast enough, or will one of them get through? Will he ever be able to escape this graveyard of a dungeon? Will Toka ever get revenge on the goddess who wronged him? And who is the hot blonde elf on the cover of the novel? If you want answers to these questions, pick yourself up a copy of Failure Frame. I became the strongest and annihilated everything with low-level spells today, either in print or digital from Bookwalker. As I'm sure you've guessed, there's also a manga available. Thanks for tuning in. I absolutely adore this story. I usually like revenge stories so long as they aren't redo of a healer. Something about a weak person getting wronged and coming back powerful and delivering justice to the ones who screwed him over just fills me with a sense of satisfaction. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. Please like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you all again next time.